right, we are back. Oh,
Just kidding.
there we go. I forgot to do that.
He always starts like that.
We're back, babe, for another episode of Doing It Raw. I don't know what episode number this is. Do you know?
Yeah, we don't keep track. We just go for it.
Whatever number you see online, that's the number that we're at right now.
Yeah. It's already been so many. We're like
Yeah.
we're just like on go mode.
Yes, we are. However, this podcast is going to be something special.
Yeah.
I think we're going to touch on something that a lot of relationships struggle with. And
Including ours. Like
yeah,
yeah.
we've gone through this struggle many times. And I'm sure we'll face maybe some higher budget struggles later on. But yeah, this is the topic we're going to discuss today is something that supposedly is the number one cause for divorce.
I mean, I
And
believe it.
yeah, surface level though,
Yeah.
deeper, we know it's something behind that problem. And I mean, I already said finances, so it's money. I don't know why I'm trying to kind of like
Make a big
exaggerate it and make this whole big thing cinematic. However, we're no financial experts.
Absolutely not.
My wife still deals with girl math, and I'm just there to make her happy. So,
Girl math is my favorite part.
yeah. And my favorite part is making sure that you keep that smile on. So, girl math away. But because of that, we do have a special guest here to talk about finances and how they tie into relationships. She's going to probably touch on some personal stuff she went through as well, in regards to her personal relationships and what she learned and how she was able to take those stories and build strength out of them. And that special guest is Julie. You want to introduce our
Julie,
special guest?
welcome, Julie, to Doing It Raw Relationship Goals. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you both. It's great to see you both. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I know that technically, this recording has been a long time coming. It's July right now, at this point of the recording. But we met Julie for the first time in person in Surrender to Rise back in May, where my wife, and I spoke, and she was also a guest speaker there. And just hearing her story, I was like, whoa, it's a powerful story, and she has a powerful message. So we were just looking forward to. I think as soon as you decided to, I mean, with the podcast alone, we already knew that she was gonna be on board and come along and have her as a guest. But then you decided to come on board, and it was like
No, I'm
you got on it.
starstruck. Like I listened. I think you were on Elena's Christmas in July last year.
Mm.
And that was the first time that I heard you. And me, I am a numbers person. Like I love math and I love money. So I was like, oh my gosh, she is amazing. And like, and then when I met you in person, like, I felt like I couldn't even say hi because I was like, I feel so like this is like a superstar right here.
Oh,
Like, there's
thank
no
you.
way. So
I'm
that's why I'm
um
so excited.
I'm super down to earth. I think you got that from me too when we met.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done a lot of really exciting, really cool things in my lifetime. I've been so blessed to have lived the life that I had and had the career that I've had, but I also try to stay also very humble. Um just a little bit about the journey that I've personally been on, guys, that actually how what interweaves into our message today is
Hmm.
I personally experienced the demise of my marriage, and a big portion of it was financially related. Unfortunately, we just probably couldn't get the help in time, is the best way I can describe it.
Hmm.
Our relationship had deteriorated to a place of an impasse and no negotiation. It was kind of like, stop, don't pass go. Um, and as I look back at it now, it's unfortunate, because of a lot of the things that my partner and I teach are couples that are in in our financial planning practice with Breathe Capital Planning. There are some skills and some things that I think if my ex and I had someone like my partner and I to help us back then,
Hmm.
may have been a different story, honestly. The financial was such a huge aspect of it. We really were not aligned. We weren't on the same page, and we were not having communication about it. So I would tell you that the very first thing in a marriage and in a relationship when it comes to money is understanding how was your significant other raised with money,
Hmm.
right? And I'll put this back out to both of you guys because I'll use you as an example so we can kind of give the listeners a live look as to what this process looks like. But sometimes the first time our clients are telling their spouse how they were raised with money is in our office.
Hmm.
So what I try to do is get to people sooner to say, hey guys, have a conversation with each other and ask each other this question. Whoever raised you, whether it was your parents, grandparents, a guardian, whomever, what were some of the things that were imparted down to you, Bree, that maybe was a money lesson that you still believe today? Like something that was passed down from previous generation to you now?
We have actually we've talked about this many years ago when he first asked me, because it, like we said, money was like kind of a big, thing between us sometimes.
Mhm.
And I think I still to this day I struggle in the sense that money's always been something that you need to survive.
Mm.
And if you don't have it, then you're gonna live a miserable life. So it, in a sense, I still kind of get scared to spend money.
Okay.
Like I cannot even, especially for myself, like I cannot buy anything for myself because I feel so guilty.
Hmm.
When it comes to like the kids and even my husband, I'm like, yeah, like go for it, let's do it, like we'll figure it out. But for myself, especially, it's like even to do my hair, Julie, like it takes me
Yep.
Yeah.
forever to book an appointment because I'm like,
I
that is $80
Yeah.
just
mhm.
to get my hair done. Like I cannot. I'm like, I can buy like groceries and things. Like I
Yeah.
can, like, So I think that's like the biggest struggle still to this day for me. When my mindset comes to like money, it's that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting that you say that. Like it's interesting that like you equate having money with happiness and survival, right? Like you truly believe that if you don't have it, you're not going to survive eventually. Something will come to pass. Um, I would call BS on it because there's been times probably in your life. I know there's been times in my life where I've had absolutely no money. I'm just going to be totally transparent. There's been a couple times post divorce that I was, between checks. I was traveling a lot. I had big expenses, and there was absolutely no money. Like maybe $10 in my name to my name.
Mm.
So I'm sure if I've experienced that, most likely you have.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You're still here.
Yeah.
So you did survive that. So a
Yeah.
lot of
Yep.
times I tell people, I'm like, you know what? We can connect like happiness and survival and money all into one thing. And that will create, all it does in ourselves, it creates anxiety. It
Mm-hmm.
makes you anxious and it makes you question, should I do this? Like, can I do this? Is this okay for me to do? Because you are a beautiful, amazing mother and wife, and you are the epitome of doing it right because you're always putting your family first. And for that, I totally respect you. I
Thank
think
you.
a lot of times what happens with couples, guys, is that we don't have a plan. We actually
Hmm.
don't know where our money's going. There's not intentionality. And it's not something that's talked about when we're in school. Let's be honest.
Mm,
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
we learn other things in school that I don't think are like that helpful to us. I think it would be amazing if they just taught basic financial management in high school or even earlier than that. But I can say that without a doubt, the one thing that can take the angst out of a relationship is actually communicating about Okay, we have these many dollars coming in this month. Here's our fixed expenses. Here's what we spend every month. What do we have left over? Right? What's left over? And what is our plan with the money that's left over? But before we even get there, Moises, I want to ask you the same question. Like,
Hmm.
what do you really believe about money? Like, what's your truth?
I think on my end, because seeing a single mom have to basically do everything, work, and not be there to be a mom. She was the provider. She was unfortunately she was not in a position to nurture us. So we grew up in daycare and so on and so forth. That gave me the belief and kind of to a certain extent the hunger to when I met my wife was like no, not in my watch. Like what my mom
Mhm.
had to go through to raise us, my wife is not going to have to go through. Um, so the belief is that basically in order for me to be that is earn money and earn as much as possible. I think an even stronger one is the one that made me tell my wife, my now wife, but back then we were just dating, is that we're never gonna get married because I'm gonna be successful financially. That's my mindset. But I don't want you to take half away from it. I'm not gonna. I don't want to work so hard for you to just one day be bored of me and be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna take half of what you're earning now from now till I don't know how long.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, that's something that honestly, I'll be honest with you, people that come in my office, they are worried about that. That's something that comes up. There's a lot of ways to have that so that that doesn't become an issue. Mainly they're legal ways, honestly, and it goes
Hmm.
beyond the capacity of what my partner and I can do for people. But we have had a couple of clients that have pretty sizable businesses, honestly, been pretty successful. They own, real estate, they own all kinds of things. And then they did find the love of their life and wanted to get married. They may have also had complications with, like, they may be in partnership with someone in business. A lot of times when we get to that, we talk to both parties, so both partners, the husband and the wife. In this case that I'm referring to specifically, it was the wife that had amassed quite a business and had a
Hmm.
couple of partnerships. And just from a legality standpoint and an ease of use, not even like her being concerned about the future, but really just it came really from her partner to
Hmm.
protect the business. So she sat down with her significant other, and the four of us kind of talked it through what it would look like to put some paperwork in place so that that partnership and that business was protected, and also on the other side so that her future husband was protected.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that you can actually put in place that will make sure that everybody's good. I'll give you a real life example for myself. I have a fiance, and I have a young son in college, and I actually have a business partner. So I have like three people that are kind of relying on me.
Mm.
Some steps that I took to make sure that everything would go the way that I wanted to, according to my will, was, God forbid, if something were to happen to me, there was life insurance that buys my son out of future interest in the partnership with my partner. So
Mm.
there's life insurance that goes to my partner. There's life insurance that goes to my significant other to help them reestablish their life, because we've been commingled for 10 years. We've been
Nice.
together for 10 years. We built a whole financial life together. And then there was money that would be sent to Jared to help him finish his goals and go to college and things of that nature. Um, and then I backed it up with paperwork, right? I have a will. I have I have paperwork involved that spells everything out so that you don't the last thing you want to do is, if someone were to get really critically sick or to, pass unexpectedly, is to panic about, oh my gosh, the bills. I don't want any of
Yeah.
them to have to think about that. I want them to know that I actually thought about that. and put a plan in place to help them. A lot of times that's some of the work that my partner and I do with our clients, is to think things through, like what could happen and what do we want to happen to make sure that our partners, whether it's your husband wife situation or your business partners, that people are protected. I think it's important. um,
No.
I think one thing that you guys both said is, like, one thing, Brie, that happens all the time is that if we don't know that we actually have the money to do it, we panic. Like, we're like, oh, should we go get our hair done or should we wait? Like, I don't really know. Um, so one thing that my partner and I developed is a couple of strategies to help people. One is called the Guide to Building Wealth, and it's basically an order of operations, and it kind of looks like this. I'll give you an example. The first thing that we tell people is you want to get out of debt. So if you have credit card debt, and things of that nature, we help build a plan to help you get out of credit card debt. So getting out of debt is kind of step one. Step two is making sure that you have a savings account of at least 3 to 6 months of your fixed bills parked somewhere, parked in a savings account, hopefully earning some level of interest. Then after that, it's like, okay, we're out of debt as far as like credit cards. Like, we're all going to probably have a mortgage and some type of car payment. Let's be honest, it's America. And that's just the way it is. Most people do have a mortgage, or they have rent, whatever their situation is. And a lot of people are going to have a car, and some people may have a longer term student loan based upon what their education was, right? But we don't look at a mortgage or student loan as like negative or toxic debt, because with a mortgage, you have something tangible for it. You actually have a house, or for your education, you probably got a higher paying job as a result of having that education. So we don't consider that something that we go after right away. But step one is getting out of credit card debt. Step two is building those cash reserves. And then as we get into this and we really get detailed about what's going on with our spending plan, we don't call it a budget because we don't want people to think restriction. We want you to think you're going to spend your money, right? So why not have a plan? What we do is we create expense accounts for the husband or for the wife, and then an expense account for the family. And it's usually based on 5% increments, which means we look at what the household income is and we take 5%. We load your accounts. Each one of you gets about 5% of the money coming in for the month. And then if we have enough left over, we'll do a family account as well. And what happens out of those accounts, that's where you spend your me money. So that, Brie, would be where you would get your hair done out of that account. It's separate and away from your primary account, and it's not touching your main bill pay account. It's not touching your savings account. It's just a separate account that you have to take care of you. And then, Moises, you would have the same account for yourself. Ideally, if we have enough discretionary money coming in the door, we would build a family account as well. So it's like a third savings account. And in that account would be money for pizza night, going out to dinner as a family, those types of things. The kids really want to go to the movies. And you can actually, if the kids are old enough to understand, you can make them part of this. You can say, hey guys, this month we have $30 and you guys are going to help mommy and daddy figure out how we're going to spend it. Do we want pizza night? Do we want to go to the movies? Do you guys want to go to an amusement park? I don't know. Not that $30 is going to do much for us today, but
Yeah, especially with 6 of us in the house, I'm like,
right. But you have to be relative. Or what you can say is, hey, we could let this build up for a couple of months and then we could do a bigger trip together. If you guys really want to go to XYZ at the end of the summer, well, if we let our expense account build for the family, we'd be able to do that together without going and having to put it on a credit card. Because what we want to do is keep you away from that continuous loop that I see people get on, where they pay their credit cards off and then they have to put money back on their credit cards. And the reason that happens is that there is not a financial plan. There isn't a plan. There is not a spending plan. People just haven't taken the time to think, oh my gosh, we got a timeout. Let's create an actual plan. And let's both know, as partners in this relationship, what's going on. Moises, to your point, what I have seen go on in other relationships, and in fact, it happened in my first relationship where I was actually managing the daily finances, but he was managing more of the larger retirement assets that we had and
Mm.
property. There was zero communication. So, like, he was buying more properties, and I'm like, ooh, time out. Like, time out. We've got like this tax bill due on this other property that we own that I didn't know anything about. So that created a lot of discord in our relationship because I'm like, wait a second, you're moving too fast and we don't have the resources to back up these expenditures because with, when you buy assets, it's going to come with some level of tax, it's going to come with, different things that you have to be prepared for.
Yeah.
And because there was a lack of communication, that became very contentious very, very quickly. So, does that make sense, guys? Like, those are some things to
100%.
like slow
Yeah.
it down, to like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, to like kind of slow down and take a step back to say, let's talk about what's happening. Like, what are we spending and what's going on every single day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean the communication part I think we kind of are pretty good at because we talk about everything, like even the smallest things, right?
Hmm.
Um it's even like it's become a problem because it's hard to surprise each other.
Yeah.
But I have heard because for us like we only have one account for the both of us, right? But I
Right.
have heard couples in healthy relationships that say like each one of them has their own,
Yeah.
Yep.
because it just does give you the opportunity to do the things for you, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because like a few months ago I urged him to like put money aside from what he gets for him, but
Mhm.
I never did it for myself.
We
Yeah.
often we're like really good advice givers as women, but sometimes we don't
Right.
practice the advice, and it's like, gosh, maybe I should have done that for me at the same time.
Right. Yeah, and when you mention like, well, then you would have like to do your hair and I'm like yeah, like I know that I can like go do these things,
Mhm.
but I'm like, well, what if all of a sudden we want to go to, I don't know, the movies, right? And like
Mhm.
it's six of us. So it's like
Yeah.
$80 will pay for that.
Right. So if you can think about it, if you actually had a plan where, okay, we have a one pager that we work with people with. So when we start to work with people, it's a one-page Excel document, guys, where we put in all the expenses, like literally everything. And if people are unaware, like some people are just unaware, they don't know what they're spending because we're
Yeah.
busy running our lives. We're
Yeah.
raising kids, we've got careers. We have no idea the fact that we're spending $90 a month at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. We don't know. Because we're on autopilot and we're on go mode. We're just trying to stay alive, right? So a lot of times I give this as a fun exercise. I'm like, okay, let's get into our however they're spending, whether it's the debit card or the credit card, let's get highlighters out. Let's go through and highlight like what do we discretionarily spend in a month? And we take a couple months average. Like we don't just go by 1 month. We might take a quarter and we say, okay, generally this couple spends $50 a month on coffee out. Generally they spend $100 a month in lunches,
Hmm.
um, by raising your awareness, it allows you guys as a couple to decide what the priorities are,
Yep.
right? But you
Mhm.
can't do
100%.
that until you raise your awareness to where is the money going. Um, and I love what you said, Bree, and the exact reason why we developed these expense accounts for each person individually is exactly what you said. So if you wanted to surprise him with a gift, something nice that you wanted to do for him, you would have a separate debit account that you guys have been putting money into for you, and you could choose to spend that on him as a gift if you wanted to, and that allows some level of independence,
Yeah.
especially in a partnership where there's one party that's working outside the house and the other person is maintaining the house. It's so important that both parties feel valued and respected.
Mhm.
The work that you do may be different, and the fact that one party gets to go outside the house and make money and is compensated by a company or an entity or whatever they're doing, the other person that's doing the work at home, that is just as valuable as the work that is outside that house, maybe more so. um
Yeah. Do you think that's why a lot of us stay-at-home moms feel like we need to go do like an extra little thing to bring in money because we just feel like what we do at home is not valuable because it's not bringing money?
mhm. I do think that, and I do think the rising costs of living here in America are so tough. Like, I'll give you a statistic that literally like set me back a little bit for New York State, because this is where I'm located. Um, in the county that I'm in, there was New York State did just a recent analysis of what it takes to live, like specifically where I live. Um, Household income needs to be $209,000 a year, or you will struggle
Wow.
to live here.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, that really woke me up in a sense, because there's not a lot of people that I'm coming in contact that is the household income demographic, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's somewhere in this area specifically, I can tell you, because I see so many budgets and so much. It's in this range of like about 130 to about 180 is what I'm seeing generally here where we live. And every region is different.
Mhm.
Cost of living is different for different places in America. The costs here and the taxes here are extreme. They really are. Um, so what it told me is like the first way to really create a budget that's sustainable is you have to know how much income is actually coming in the door, right?
Mhm.
And I think that this is really cool. It's a good that you brought it up, Bree. It's like a conversation that you can have with your partner to say, how are we doing? Like, how is it going? Like, if you're the party that isn't going outside to earn money and you're taking care of the kids, it's like, how are we doing? Like, are we able to make our budget every month, or are we falling short? And what's the amount that we're falling short? But if we don't track it, if we don't have an awareness, we'll never know the answer to that. And
Yeah.
that's why I challenge people that say, oh, I can't afford to work with a financial planner. You actually can't afford not to. So I challenge people on that. I'm like, people think that services like mine, me and my partner, were for the rich. No, we're not. We're for everyday people. We ourselves are everyday people. We started somewhere. We don't believe in, there's other people in our space that there's a minimum amount of money you have to have for an investment. We don't believe in that. We started with
Mm.
people that had $3,000 to invest. So, do we charge a fee for our services and our advice? We have to, because we put a lot of time in working with you guys as a couple, or with an individual, or with a business owner, to understand all of your analytics. Like, we look at
Mhm.
everything you're paying for, um, your car, your insurance, your life insurance, your disability insurance, you name it. We look at everything. And we also want to optimize every dollar that you're spending. So if we see that you're overspending somewhere, we're actually going to bring it to your attention and help you negotiate a better price. We call that a recapture. And we also
Mm.
raise this awareness to a very high level about, gosh, guys, did you know that you've got Disney Plus, you've got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got this, you've got that? Are you using all of these? If you answer us and say, yes, we need all of those, cool. But if you don't, imagine how much money we could recapture. That
Right.
Yeah.
money recapture can then fund, maybe we're paying down debt, or maybe we're building your expense accounts. Cool thing about the
Exactly.
expense accounts too, Bree, is like we make those debit cards. So the money that's going onto the into that expense account, we connect it to a debit card. We don't connect it to a credit card. So
Mm.
it's like it gets loaded, and when the money's gone, it's gone. But you had
Yeah.
money for the month.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. I think it's extremely valuable for especially couples because like we mentioned, like there's always different mentality when it comes to money,
Mhm.
and couples just fight over that all the time, you
Yeah,
know, like you're spending on this, you're drinking too much coffee, or like
yeah.
things like that, or like you said, subscriptions. Like there's so many subscriptions nowadays. Sometimes like you just like don't even know what you're subscribed to,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm always like monthly, I'm like checking, okay, what are the subscriptions here, because we don't need it, it's out the door. Like, and it's priorities too. Like, okay, not all subscriptions we're gonna have, like we're gonna prioritize these, and that's it.
My family wasn't
So
really happy with me, but I got like into this like really serious budget mode about 3 months ago. I shut off everything. Everything. Like there was no Hulu, there was no Netflix, there was no Uber, there was no Uber Eats, there was nothing.
yeah.
Hmm.
And my son went to order like something at school. He was at school and he's like, "Mom, I went to use DoorDash. Your card's not connected." And I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "You want DoorDash? You pay for DoorDash. You're 19.
There's
You
DoorDash
know?
at home.
Yeah,
Just DoorDash at home.
you've got food here. You know." That was my mom's answer every
Yeah.
time. Like, I don't know why you're out there spending your money. There's perfectly good food in the house. So,
Hmm.
I mean, but the recapture that I had from that, guys, was kind of significant. It was like $400,
Wow.
right?
And
And that
it's
$400, I started saving that $400. And so now I told them, well, guess what? At the end of the year, that vacation that you wanted to take, we're going to be able to take it. So, you have to, and I think the big thing is to include your family like as much as you
Yeah.
can. I mean, sometimes when your kids are younger, they don't get it, but the communication piece, and I know that you guys are both passionate about communication in the marriage, how critical it is. We actually recommend that our clients that are working with us have a check-in with each other twice a month. Like maybe it's at the end of 2 weeks on a Friday. And we tell people, make it 30 minutes, make the meeting brief, but make it effective, and be
Mhm.
like, okay, here's where we're at, from the 1st to the 15th. Here's where we started. Here's where we are in the billing cycle. Here's what's going on. Here's what some things that could happen. Because listen, things happen. Another thing that we do is we build in a 5% reserve in your main checking account because, like, for instance, I just pulled my car out a little while ago. Guess what? It needs brakes. It's always something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always. So,
Yeah, it never stops. I was gonna tell you, it's funny what you were saying that you were doing that. Um, because when we had our conversation years ago about money, I started listening to what's his name? I think Dave Ramsey.
yeah,
And I was like going crazy at it. Like I was like, there was even like one time, Julie, I'm not even gonna lie, like for maybe 3 months, we had no internet.
Yeah.
We had no internet, and our son was going like, what? Like he was like, this life is so boring. Like we're like, dude, you'll be fine. Like only the internet from our phone was the only thing we had.
yep,
But it was funny how you mentioned that, because I was like you go through those, and then you kind of start realizing what really matters, right? Like the things that either like you're just out of comfort, or it's actually a priority.
Hmm.
So that, I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned from that, is like prioritize things, and if it's just for comfort, you probably don't need it.
yeah. I'm so glad you said that. And I want to bring you back to the conversation that we started, you and I, early on when you said, like, I actually, because I take notes when people tell me their feelings towards money. So I took some notes. Um, and that you're scared to spend money, right? So after we've had this conversation now, and you and Moises can, and I will send you guys this one pager after we get off today, so you can take a look, and I will tell you like how to do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
But
Oh, look.
think about this, like after today, and I've raised your awareness to the fact that, like, okay, what if I had an expense account, it had money in it, and I knew that our bills were paid for the month? Would I still be scared to spend?
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm still like, I'm telling
I
you,
mean, it'll
because
take time to
yeah,
for you to get
like
used to it. Yeah.
because I'm the
Where's
one that does
where's
the
the fear?
numbers.
Where's the fear come from? Where is it in your body?
I think it's my gut. I feel like that's where it comes from because
Hmm.
I feel like it's not. I'm like I pay the bills right away, right? So everything is good to go. Like I have a lot of stuff automated already. Um it's the fact that I feel like I'm gonna have to say no to somebody if I like buy something for myself.
Mm.
So like if like they're like, "Oh, like because I have like a limit, right? This is
Hmm.
in our household there's a limit. Um our bills are paid, you know, this goes towards business, this goes towards whatnot. And then we have this much for whatever we want or need, like if we want to, you know, go eat out or, you
Hmm.
know, whatever. Um, but then I feel like, okay, we spend that and then I have to say no to somebody because I decided to, like, I don't know, buy something for myself.
Okay. What if, let's rewind this a little bit. What if, let's say, and I don't know your guys' numbers and budget. I'm just going to throw numbers in here, okay? But don't get attached to the number. But
Okay.
let's say we got into a place where um we had an extra, we had a cushion of $500 in your main checking account and it just sat there, right? And every month that's going to grow by 3 to 500 a month. We're going to be able to reserve that 3 to 500. And maybe in each one of your guys' checking account, or in your expense account, there's $100 each, right? So he's got 100 to spend on him. You've got 100 to spend on you. And you know, in the back of your mind, all the bills are paid and you have another $500 in the account. Would you be able to spend the money in your expense account?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Definitely.
think I
So
think
these
her.
are, these are numbers. I'm sorry, Moises. I didn't
No,
mean
you
to
can.
interrupt you. These are kind of like numbers and metrics, and everyone has like a magical number, right? It's a
Mhm.
number that there has to be. That number has to be there in order to lower their resistance and their to let their fear go.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes what I find is when I really work kind of intensely with somebody, I can actually uncover a money trauma. Like there could be something back in your past where something very traumatic happened and it was connected to money, or somehow you connected it to money. Um, and I will share this story because she's already shared it and I know that
Mm.
she's okay with it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Elena talk about her situation with money and what happened in her head. Um, Her family was very affluent, and so affluent that she used to play with gold bars on the floor when she
Oh
was a
yeah,
little
yeah.
baby. And then her parents separated, and she equated in her little infant 3 or 4 year old mind, she equated money with this dissolution of her parents' marriage.
Hmm.
So it was a deep money trauma, right?
Yeah.
So when we have a deeper money trauma, we actually have to do some extra work to unpack like what's actually behind all this,
Mhm. Mm.
you know? Because a lot of times there's things that happen that we then make this emotional connection to it, and it's very hard to unlock that and to move forward. So, you know, sometimes I don't push it with people and I just let people self-discover things. It's
Hmm.
And
exactly
I
like
think that's
what,
what's just happening right now. I think it's
yeah,
happening
Alina and I
right
did
Yeah.
now.
this work together actually, Brie, where she actually worked with me on this, and I actually had her write out like all of her money traumas. We actually had one page where it was like her self-limiting beliefs with money and what was holding her back, and like I just was like, write until you can't write anymore, and
Mhm.
then take that page and set it aside, and then write if you believed in yourself and if you believed in your um, ability to manage your money well, what would your life look like? And she just started writing and writing and writing. This old money trauma page, she actually called me up and she's like, I need to talk to you before I burn this. And we had this whole conversation about she unpacked something that was deep within that she hadn't been able to access before.
Mm. Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention earlier. Is that what she went through was to a certain extent tied into money, right? There was relationship problems with her parents that, unfortunately, I think because money is a thing in the world, it cannot be ignored.
Yep.
So we can't just say like, well, it wasn't because of money. So that what her parents went through and what she saw her mom go through, how the lack of money, the struggle that she went through because of the lack of, and then seeing on the other side, right, her father as well, and I don't think she ever wants to be in a position that her mom was.
Yep.
And I mean that trauma alone kind of planted seeds of weeds that transpired everywhere: money, relationships, self-image, so on and so forth. And yeah, it's something that we believe in, and we kind of like emphasize and evangelize to a certain extent.
Mhm.
Like, hey, that relationship that you grew up with, which is mom and dad, had a huge impact in your life and you don't even realize it,
Yeah.
and in ways that you don't even realize. And yeah, that way for me as well with money. Again, seeing a struggling mom, we lived in an apartment where, when she moved over, I mean, my mom was the first in her family to cross over the border and become a
Mhm.
U.S. citizen, and
Mhm.
she brought us uh, along with her, and she had to struggle
Yeah.
financially, and it was no, there was McDonald's at home, daycare. It was supported by the government, and
Mhm.
it was like, I'm gonna do it myself because the man that I was supposed to do it with didn't step up.
Right.
Um, so a lot of those things, it's like, it's crazy how they sneak into how you process finances and
Yeah.
money and things like that.
Ooh.
It's a big thing, guys. And like sometimes
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Bree, if I have somebody that I see really, really struggling and really, really stuck, I surround myself with incredible people. So I may refer someone to a therapist or a counselor, somebody that really is highly qualified to unpack trauma, childhood trauma, and go to a very deep level. I can work
Hmm.
on like a surface level. I'm really very, very, very good with behavioral finance. And because I have 20 plus years of consulting, I'm pretty good at helping people through certain, what I would call surface level or 1 to 3 level depth, um, sitting on the surface type stuff to unpack and let go. But when I see somebody that is working with us that keeps repeating toxic money patterns, I will tell them, hey, I think we need to call in an outside specialist to help us with this. And
Yeah.
I've seen people make massive change. So I know it's possible, but I do know sometimes it takes a deeper level of work than the work that I'm qualified to do with people.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to give yourself a little bit more credit because like right now when you were talking, it hit me. Like I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know where this comes from." And this, like, I haven't even thought about this ever. Like I never realized this until this moment, Julie. So I feel like how I mentioned, I'm afraid that I will be selfish on myself, and
Yeah.
then my kids will want something, and I'm going to cry. So it's
Oh,
raw
it's
here.
okay. People often cry in my office. I'm prepared for you. I'm prepared. If I was with you, I'd give you tissues and go get you a cup of water and be like, what else can I do
Ah,
for
you're
you?
too sweet. But I just realized that all of those moments where I had that like gut wrench feeling because my dad, he's a drinker.
Hmm.
He's an alcoholic, like honestly. And since I was little, like it's been that way. So my mom would be so upset because he would spend his money drinking, right? To the point where like if we even wanted to, I don't know, like go out for ice cream or like I remember like even asking back then, and I don't know, it was a while ago, but when those backpacks with wheels came out,
Yeah.
I wanted one so bad because all of my friends had them, right? And I asked, and we couldn't afford it. And my dad was drinking, and I always felt like it was such a selfish like thing that he would do. Um, that he couldn't even like stop drinking for like a day. Um, to do something for his kids. Like we never went on vacations.
Mhm.
We struggled all the time, like all the time. And I never wanted to be selfish that way.
Yeah. Friend, I want to tell you, you have such a beautiful heart. You are a beautiful, beautiful mom and a beautiful person in the world. And you don't have a selfish bone in your body. I truly believe this.
No, she
Um,
does not.
you don't. And I want you to just like um, give yourself a huge kudos for kind of digging in on that and really kind of thinking and processing that, because that's not an easy memory to access. That's hard. Um, and the fact that you were willing to be vulnerable and share that with others
Thank
and
you.
myself and Moises, like, it speaks volume to your character, Bree.
No, thank you so much, Julie, for your words. You seriously always like I don't know how you calm me down so quick, but it's crazy how I never even thought about that. Like,
Yeah,
cause when you ask me like where does it come in your body physically, and I
yeah.
never even thought like how is that even
It's your
possible? How
it's
can I
in your
feel
gut,
that?
right? And oftentimes, when it's in your gut, in your heart, in your gut, that's trauma. That's trauma.
Yeah, what I
You know.
what I kept what I kept picturing, because I believe we all have an inner child. That little version of us is always going to be with us from the time
Yeah.
that we were born until the
Hmm.
Lord calls us. Um, and this is why I'm one that encourages my wife, go do your hair, go whatever, go do it. So buy
Yep.
her, to the point where sometimes I get upset at her because she doesn't do it. And what I pictured, basically every time she kind of like pushes that away because of the kids or whatever it may be,
Hmm.
I picture her as a little girl telling herself, like, no, like, no, not today, because we need to take care of XYZ person. And no, my job is to make sure that she has the ability to take care of her,
Yeah.
and do what she needs to take care of her. So that's why I always highly encourage it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I want to take it a step farther when you say that, Moises, because this is an important thing. Our children are watching,
Hmm.
right? Just like we were watching our parents and we were learning maybe some hard and tough lessons, right?
Yep.
Some
Yeah.
things that we saw weren't always great, and that happens for a lot of us. But when our children can see, and you're gonna make me cry, that we care enough about my dad cares enough about my mom to make sure she has everything she needs. My dad encourages her to show herself love. Now, they may not understand it on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, our children learn from what we do, not what we say, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, like, I am going to cry. My son knows how important, like, my family is to me. And we've gone through a lot these past year and a half. I know you guys heard my story about losing my mom to dementia, my dad
Hmm.
fighting cancer. And my son is at wrestling camp, Division One. He's living his best life. He's, getting prepared for the season. But he knew that it meant a lot to me that if he could come home and just see me and his grandfather,
Mm.
he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, our kids learn from our example. Like,
Yep.
he has seen me, put my family above other things, and that I've had to in the past couple of years, even above myself, because that's what I needed to do to make sure everybody stayed on track and alive. Um, and my son is like, "Wow, mom, like, I really respect you. I really look up to you. Like, when the chips are down, mom, I know I could count on you." And I think, Brie, your little ones, they're watching you and they're like, "Oh, look at mommy. Mommy takes care of herself. She has pride in herself. We will have pride and take care of ourselves."
Mm-hmm.
These self
Yeah.
care things are important for our children to see, because what it does is it shows them that we value ourselves enough to take care of ourselves, that we love ourselves. And that's a message that I know that as all three of us as parents is very important for our kids to feel that they love themselves. And I think that
Yep.
that message needs to be more and more and more out there. I think we have a lot of little kids and teenage kids and even near adult kids that are struggling horrifically because of a lack of self love. So if you start
Absolutely.
to think of your resources as a way to kind of like put a line in the sand to be like, we have standards, like Moises, like I love that you have standards and that we are going to rise to these standards. We're not going to lower our standards just to like keep life easy. We're going to rise to the standard, right?
Exactly.
And
Yep.
I think when kids see that, like they raise their own standards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you couldn't have said it better. Like he says that all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
our and he it's funny because he we talk about our teenager a lot. He's about to turn 16 in a couple of weeks, and we teach him about money, we teach him about all these things, and he has this lifestyle that we're like, dude, like prepare yourself because this lifestyle that you have right now, it's not easy to get, and you're going to have to work for it. It's not going to be given to you. Like,
Yeah.
once you become an adult, like it's all on you. And if you want to keep the lifestyle, like you gotta hustle, little
Yeah.
buddy.
A
The
lot of my a lot of my friends and a lot of my clients will be like, will you talk to my child? They're just about to like go out on their own, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, you betcha. I'll put the fear of God in them.
yeah.
And
The
I'm
way that
like,
I.
in a respectful way, I do this because I told my son once, he's like, Mom, like he had a whole business since he was 11 and he was a
Nice.
sneaker reseller. And he's like, Mom, how much should I be saving? I'm like, do you want to continue to grow this business or is this a one and done situation? He's like, Mom, I want to grow this business. I want to build enough money so that I can buy my very first car, like a nice SUV, a really nice one, Mom. Here's what you do. You save 90%, you spend 10. You don't have
Mm.
overhead. Your father and I pay for everything you need. So while you're little, you're 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, let us pay for things because you don't have to. And this is how you do it. Like, and he's like, wow, Mom. And so he did that year after year after year after year. And he saved like $25,000
Wow.
all on his own.
That
And
is
we
awesome.
we didn't take him off the hook. I think he thought we were just going to cover the expense and be like, "Oh, you get to keep your money." Nope, we took the money and we
Yeah.
put it
So
towards his
then.
first SUV that he still has till this day down in college. And he called me up in a complete panic this week, guys, because the door locked and wouldn't open. And he's like, "Mom, I didn't realize how expensive it is to fix one of these vehicles." And I'm like, "Yep." And I'm
Yep.
like, "Did you call your dad?" And he's like, "I did." And I go, "What'd he say?" He said, "You got money, go ahead and get it fixed." So he was like, he's kind of rethinking his next purchase,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. One
So,
thing that I teach our son is like, hey, look around you. This lifestyle you have right now is because of the standards that we set.
yeah,
Now, you want to keep this lifestyle, you're going to have those same standards or even better and rise up to them.
yeah,
Specifically, if you want the lifestyle that you want. So,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like even our 8-year-old daughter, a few months back, her tablet that was given to her when she was little broke out of nowhere,
Yeah.
yeah,
and she knew Moises has these beautiful standards for her family that she knew that we were not going to buy her a new one.
right.
So the first thing she said was like, "Mom, can we set up a lemonade stand so that I can make money to buy a new tablet?" And obviously I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work." But I was like, "Absolutely, like let's do it." And we did. We prepared for it and she did all the work. Like we just set it up and he stayed outside. I did help her by baking muffins
Yep.
and stuff, but she was serving the stuff. She was like
How old
getting
is
the
she?
money. She is 8.
I love this, you guys. I think
Yeah.
I somehow spawned a little entrepreneur who came out like he was a business owner. Because at age 4, he was like, "Mom," he's like, "I just figured something out." He's like, when we go to the farmer and we buy all the fruits and vegetables, and he goes, "It's not very much money. Like we pay way more at the store." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Mom, I want to buy a bunch of fruit and vegetables, and I want to set up on our front porch, and I want to sell those to our neighbors because we can make money doing this, Mom." And then he goes, and then the roll of cookies that you get with the dough? He
Mhm.
goes, it only costs like a couple dollars for that. This was, you know, 14 years ago now. He's like, well, I could charge like $1.50 a cookie, Mom, and you don't even have to like make it from scratch.
There
And
you
he's like,
go.
because I think people would want a cookie when they buy their healthy food. He goes, I don't know. I just think that's how people work. And I'm like, where is this kid coming from? Right. So we encouraged him. He had a farm and
Yeah.
garden stand at age 4. And we don't know where it came from. He just decided on his own he wanted to do this. He saw both his father and I in business since he was an infant. I had a
Mhm.
business, his dad owns a company. So he's already seen this. So he's like, oh, I can do it too.
Yeah,
And that's,
and that shows like what we've been talking about, the generations, of what our kids see and
yep,
what we saw from our parents, like how we grew up with money. Now how our kids are seeing and learning about money, and trying to even like teach them better ways of
yep,
like, doing things, and how you spend, how you invest, and I started with my son when I think he was 12. And when I was going through the whole Dave Ramsey thing, like I was like, okay, buddy, like whatever money you make, or you get for birthday or whatever, you're gonna save this much, and this is for your needs, and this is for your wants. And he was like, Mom, and I was like, no, like that's life.
yeah,
And I hope that will help him in the future, because you
yep,
know me being raised the way I was raised, like it was totally different in him too.
Yeah.
yep. The world was different too, you guys. The world, I mean, think back. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have things at our fingertips that we could call up and order and have here the next day. That didn't happen, right? If you think about, our collective childhoods, it's like it was very different. You had to go out and get those goods. You had to go
Mhm.
somewhere to get them and bring them back. And so I almost think that that's actually a bad thing because you it almost connects to this unconscious spend thing that I see happening where, oh, it's Amazon, it's on a credit card, whatever. And it's like people become very unaware of how much they're spending.
Yeah.
Not that I'm against these companies, I'm not. I mean, they're wonderful for convenience. What I'm against is people not being aware of what they're spending. So I tell people, if you have Amazon boxes in your house that are unopened, I challenge you, you did not need that.
Yeah, like who, I don't know.
Yeah, because I've heard. I don't know how to explain, but back in the day, before credit cards, what did we look at? Our wallet. So we had a visual of how much money we had,
Yeah,
and the more that it went away, it hurt more. Like there
it
was a
does.
actual mental and emotional reaction to us literally giving something away. When
Mhm.
now it's just a few kicks away. I mean, even with, I don't know if you heard, we've heard stories about kids just buying a bunch of Fortnite V Bucks. I think so. They're V
Or
Bucks,
Roblox.
Robux. I don't even know all this pay to play type game
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah, it's just one of those things where I guess that emotional and mental connection is kind of getting lost because of the digital world now.
Yeah, I think the only way to combat that is you have to raise awareness. You have to be
Yep.
like, this, you're going to be on the hook for this. Like, you're going to get a bill that at the end of the month you're going to have to pay. And if you don't pay it, they're going to charge you interest when you could have paid for it initially and it would have been less money. So it's like,
Hmm.
I am like kind of against people getting credit cards too early in their life because they don't really have a clear understanding of how it works and it can really hurt somebody's financial future. So I'm very much about understanding that. And I think a good place to start is a prepaid card where you actually, you go to a bank that offers them and you put money on a prepaid card, and it will allow you to build your credit file. But like
Mm,
the money, once you use it off of there, it's gone. And that that builds that automatic awareness of there's a limit. There's a
yeah.
limit, there's a limit. And once I've gone through this money, it's done. So I like that for younger people that are just starting out. I'm not a big fan of credit card because I've seen it hurt people so significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think if used judiciously and properly, it's a great thing. It allows you to, get something or keep yourself on budget, but you have to be prepared to pay whatever that is. And you should never put, more on that than what you make in a month. Never. So, and I think people get into this habit of be like, oh, I can't afford it, but I can put it on the credit card. Okay, well, if you have a 0% card, cool. I'm cool with that. And you have the time to pay that without disrupting your regular bill flow, great. But if you don't, you need to rethink that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I don't let people off the hook.
Yeah.
I'm not like the one that you want to hire if you want to hear just
You want to be called
everything's
out,
gonna be fine. I'm
but
gonna tell you, we tell people the truth.
yeah,
Like,
and that's good. Because I correlate it to anything else in business. And I think maybe this is what may drive people away from seeking maybe coaching for relationships, coaching in general for fitness, right? Or coaching in general, regardless what it is people think that it's gonna be that from here on out. When in reality, like no, it's gonna be painful at the beginning, but it's to get you to a place where you're more comfortable than you are right now. Because right now you're seeking external comforts, but they're making you uncomfortable being able to fulfill that.
Mhm.
yes,
And where we want to get them to is to for you to still be comfortable, go through this moment or maybe season of maybe it being a little bit uncomfortable, but at the other side, it's actually more comfortable than where you even were starting with.
right.
And that's something that also a lot of people kind of get in their heads about that like, oh, I'm gonna have to budget for the rest of my life. Yeah, to a certain extent. However, you're actually going to have a little bit more money to spend in what you want and what is
You know what?
making you
You know
comfortable.
what's really cool about budgeting is like I said, when we figure it out, we have a main bill pay account, and that just pays all the bills, and then we have the expense accounts, right? And then there's other accounts that we're going to have too. You're going to have an investment account. You may have a 401k account. You may also have a Roth, and you may have cash value life insurance. Let's say you've got all those future dollar accounts over there. Um, as you start making more money, you just can pay yourself more.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said, Moises. As your income increases, well, guess what? We both got a bump in our expense account. Instead of $100 a month, it's $250. Instead of, and I tell people the same thing when we're paying down debt. I say, guys, look at we're making $900 a month debt payments right now. Imagine we're gonna have this paid off in 18 months, let's say. In 18 months, I can take that $900 and each one of you guys can have $450 extra in your expense accounts. Or maybe we want to save that money. Maybe we want to build up a bigger savings because we're going to do something to the house, or we're going to buy a house, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
So I think, planning with the end in mind. Like,
Yep.
you need to think about, where am I headed? Like, the years that you're actually accumulating wealth, there should be a plan. And then
Yep.
about 2 to 3 years prior to retirement, boy, you definitely should be working with someone like me and my partner, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that you need to get in line before you retire. And then when you're in retirement, a lot of people don't even know how to do this. It's transferring your wealth back to yourself. What's
Mm.
the preferred way to do that from a tax, liquidity, and risk perspective? So those are all things that we specialize at our company, Breathe Capital Planning, guys. We are across the nation, so we're in every state in the nation. In addition to that, something that I just have been partaking in that I don't even think I told you guys is I am now nationally accredited for divorce coaching. So I was so
Nice.
passionate about the fact that so many of us kind of go through a divorce, and it's such a bummer that I
Yeah.
wanted to increase my skills and ability to work with people. So I am just recently finished that certification, gosh, a few months ago. And, it's International Federation of Coaches. It is certified and it's actually global certification, which I think is so exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
but I can work with people that are,
Congrats.
thank you, either going through a divorce, or post divorce, like wherever they are in the continuum, I can actually help, coach people with that one to one.
That's
Excited
gonna
about
help
that.
a ton of
Yeah.
people. No, yeah, of course. Because another thing that people don't realize when it comes to relationships is technically, to a certain extent, it is a business
Yeah.
partnership. Because you're
100%.
mixing finances, right? So
Marriage
you,
is
it's
actually a business contract.
exactly because there is legal terms involved in it.
Yep. You're
Yeah.
100% correct.
Yeah, and that's why to a certain level we also treat it as a business, in the sense that if we need time for each other, we schedule it, right? Date nights,
Hmm.
whatever. If a conversation needs to be had, so on and so forth, we look at what's needed to make that happen, and we go ahead and move what we need to move around to make it happen. And finances is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And if people learn to see it that way, then hopefully it leads to a flourishing relationship, because that's
Yeah.
technically the end goal here.
Yeah.
I think,
But
I
if
think,
it doesn't, I mean, we got Julie now
Yeah.
that it's like, it didn't work out, but Julie can help you out.
I think some things that we've said today, guys, that just to recap for our listener will be helpful as they take away is, the awareness, raising the awareness, and actually,
Hmm.
asking your partner, like, how were you raised with money? What do you believe to be true about it? Like, those are all things that can be really helpful to ask your partner, and taking note of that, like, and also
Yep.
having empathy for the fact that your partner may have been raised very differently with money than you were, and come
Mhm.
from a place of understanding, or at least trying to understand versus judgment. I feel like
Exactly.
that can really
Yeah.
change the dynamic. Then getting really mindful about what's happening in the relationship as far as spending goes, having conversations, meeting with each other every 2 weeks. Consider starting an expense account for each of you individually. And then also increase the communication when it comes to, things that are going to be needed for the household, and just having a good awareness. God forbid something happens to one partner and the other partner has to take over. If you have a level of awareness and good communication between the parties, it's way less stressful. I can tell you for a fact that I have some older clients in their late 60s and 70s who have lost their spouses, came from a
Well.
totally different generation in which money wasn't really discussed between each other.
Hmm.
um, and it was very hard to get our arms around their financial picture. And imagine grieving, like, the person that you've been with 50, 60 years, and also having to deal with financial stress.
Yeah.
So I would just encourage people, like, you can change that. You can change that paradigm. You can change that dynamic. More communication is key. Everything that you guys talk about is so relevant to, the conversation that we've had today. Like, I've listened to the two of you. You're dead on in that we have to communicate. We have to be transparent with each other if we want the marriage and the relationship to thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess to shamelessly tie it into the title of this show, you have to look at your money raw and
Yep.
be, like you mentioned, honest, transparent. Where's the money coming from? How much is coming in, and how much is going out, and what can we do to formulate a better game plan?
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, Julie. Like, thank you
Thank you.
so much for the time. Thank you so much for all the knowledge and
Oh
like
yeah.
even the healing I'm probably going to be having.
I'm excited. Yay. Well,
Yeah,
this
thank
was
you so
great, you
much
guys.
for
I've
all of
loved
it.
our time together. It flew by.
Oh yes, it
Um,
did.
I feel like I could talk to you guys all night, but I appreciate both of your time, and looking forward to in the near future having the two of you guys on Divine Abundance,
Of
which
course.
is my show with Prospera. Would love to have you guys on and just to talk about, relationships and marriage, and like how is it tied into like divinity. and the connection to God, right? I would love to have that conversation with the both of you. Thank you for being so generous and having me on today. I've enjoyed our time together, and I look forward to seeing you both soon.
Of course, likewise on our end. Where can people find you to
Yep.
contact you?
So we have a website. It's www.breathe, BREATHE, capital CAPITAL, planning.com. And right on the website, there's a Calendly link, and you can go ahead and book a complimentary for all of your listeners that are on here today. Everyone gets a complimentary 30-minute session with us
Nice.
to answer any financial question that you have, or you need clarification on something that I said. Feel free to go ahead and book that meeting with us.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Amazing. So you know where to go. You know the person. I think, my God, this was a great podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And a very important one. But yes, Julie, thank you very much for your time, for pouring into our audience, and we look forward to pouring into yours as well soon.
Yes.
Any last words that you want to go ahead and speak to our audience here?
Yeah, just be patient with yourself. Like,
Yes.
things don't happen overnight. It takes consistency and time. It's the same thing as, remember, with the first time we rode a bike. We weren't perfect at it our first time out, but we kept trying, and we eventually got really good with those pedals. It's like working out. It's like starting anything new. Be patient with yourself, rely on a system, increase your awareness. You can decide to change your financial paradigm at any time.
Yep.
It's possible.
Beautiful.
So,
And with that mic drop, I think
Right.
that'll be the end of the episode.
All right.
So, again, Julie, thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
awesome. Thank you both.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day. Bye.